Is this not scandalous? To tell someone hurting, count it as joy? Count it as joy when you're poor. Count it as joy when you're marginalized, when you're let go from your job unjustly, when things are said about you that aren't true of you, when you've lost a loved one, when your marriage is hard, when your children go wayward, when you're dealing with depression, when your body is failing you. Count it all joy. This is audacious. To the persecuted, to the marginalized, to the downtrodden and hurt, the Jews are reading this letter with surprise. James says, you've been taken from your homes. You've been separated from your children. You are beaten, shamed for your faith. Count it all joy, my brothers and sisters. Because the truth is that God is doing something in this. That God is doing something to you in this. This is an admonishing of their attitude about trials. We should face them with an upright attitude of joy. We must see our position in calamities as prompts for rejoicing, something that produces pure joy in us, or as the text says, all joy. That's the first word in the Greek here. It's our emphatic position. It's translated, that verse, count it all joy. It's literally translated this way if you were to literal English. All joy, esteem it when trials you fall into. James is teaching us that our attitude about trials can either increase our suffering in them if we believe the lie that they are purposeless, or can ease our suffering in them if we see them as productive to the plan of God. James is asking us, what is your attitude like when you go through what you go through? What is the position of your heart when you are metaphorically drowning in your circumstance? James offers us a mercy. He could leave us to complaining and groaning. He could leave us to believing the lie that what we go through is unmerited, unwarranted issues. Or we can see every trial as a triumph. We can see every problem as a promise being fulfilled. This is the life. When you go through what you go through, you can thank God for the trouble you're in. You can thank God for the pain. You have to see it this way. All joy, esteem it when trials you fall into. That's to keep the attitude of joy in the front of your mind when you fall into trial. You got to see it that way. Your attitude has to change. Joy. Enjoy. This is happening. Joy. Work is frustrating. Joy. I don't like the traffic. Joy. I mean, you could put this for the big and the small. Joy. But I have to warn you, we can easily misread this with a masochistic lens. We can read this and say, well, you're telling me to be joyful about my pain. To see pain as something I must chase after because it brings me joy. You can read this and say, how am I supposed to smile when I need to weep? How could James say this? The insensitivity. This feels the opposite of emotional health. But that is not what James is saying here. He's not instructing us to enjoy our trials. He's not teaching us to celebrate when the worst of it falls upon us. That's not what he's saying. Kent Hughes says in his commentary, James is commending the conscious embrace of a Christian understanding of life that brings joy into the trial that comes because of our Christianity. It means that when we experience trials, we should respond to them in joy. Not to be joyful about them, not to be happy about them, but to experience them in such a way that we know that though this is painful, though this is uncomfortable, though this is not my favorite, though I've shed years weeping, I know God has not left me. God has not been indifferent to my situation, nor has he been stagnant. He is at work.